All right, so anyone else feeling that chill in the air? And I don't just mean pumpkin spice latte season, right? I'm talking about the tech job market.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely feeling, well, different, less like a hot summer job market, more like, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A lot of uncertainty in the air.
Right. So, to get a handle on what's going on, we're diving deep into this Wall Street Journal article everyone's talking about. Tech jobs have dried up and aren't coming back soon.
Catchy.
Right. And of course, we're pairing that with the always lively discussion. Over on Reddit's are flush scarier questions because where else, right?
Right. Gotta love those comment threads.
Seriously. So, to kick things off, this Wall Street Journal piece, it doesn't pull any punches. It opens with this, like, almost comical, but also kind of heartbreaking anecdote about a laid off tech worker in New York. And get this, they resorted to posting actual flyers, like lost cat flyers, all over Manhattan, just to try and get noticed by recruiters.
Wow. Talk about a sign of the times.
Right. It's like, remember when everyone was vying for tech talent? Companies were offering insane perks, signing bonuses, the whole nine yards.
Yeah, it was practically a red carpet rollout for anyone with the coding skills.
Exactly. And now, well, it seems like the script is flipped.
Definitely. And I think what's interesting is how this shift is impacting people differently, especially those who are relatively new to the tech scene. The industry has always had its ups and downs.
Right. The boom and bust cycles.
Exactly. But the thing is, the boom we just came out of, it was so intense and went on for so long
Yeah.
that a lot of people, they've never experienced the bust part of that cycle.
They came in at the peach,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So it's like going from, the Kent house to, well, maybe not quite the doghouse, but definitely a reality check.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
And the article, it actually puts some numbers to this shift, too. They cite data from Indeed.com showing that job postings for software developers alone, they've plummeted by over 30% since February 2020.
Wow, that's a pretty significant drop.
Right. Like, this isn't just a blip on the radar, this is a trend.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a different ball game now.
And not just in terms of the number of jobs, but also the whole hiring process.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, the article talks about how job seekers are now expected to jump through all these hoops. They're doing marathon coding tests,
Right.
multiple rounds of interviews.
Right.
And even then, they might not even hear back.
Oh, I heard horror stories. Like people spending hours on these grueling technical assessments
Mm.
and then crickets, nothing. Radio silence.
The worst, right.
It's brutal.
It's like, imagine pouring your heart and soul into something and then not even getting a chance to explain your thought process.
Yeah, it's demoralizing.
Totally. So, I mean, the big question is, what's driving the sudden change? The article points to a few factors, but the one that really jumped out at me was AI. Like, is this the robot takeover we've all been warned about?
Well, it's definitely part of the equation. And I think the article does a good job of, you know, highlighting both the excitement and the anxiety. That surrounds AI's potential impact on the job market.
For sure. Because on one hand, you have companies like, they're falling all over themselves to hire AI specialists, offering salaries that sound like, winning lottery numbers.
Right. It's crazy.
But then on the other hand, there's this underlying fear that AI is going to automate everyone's jobs out of existence.
Yeah.
So it's like, which is it? Is AI our new best friend or our biggest career threat?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It's like we're caught in this weird paradox. AI is opening up amazing new possibilities,
Right.
but also potentially slamming the door on a lot of careers. So how do we make sense of this?
Well, I think the article makes a good point. It's not really about AI replacing humans altogether. It's more about, companies figuring out how to use AI strategically.
Okay, so less about automating jobs away and more about using AI to boost their bottom line.
Exactly. And we can actually see this playing out in the types of projects companies are investing in versus the ones they're cutting back on.
Right, like the article mentioned those cutbacks in VR and device development.
Exactly. Those fields, they're cool, they're innovative,
Yeah.
but they haven't really translated into, consistent revenue streams.
Yeah. Makes sense from a business perspective, I guess, even if it's a bummer for the folks working in those areas. But okay, so if you're not an AI specialist, where do you even fit in?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, this is where I think the conversation around AI and jobs gets really interesting. Because while the article focuses on, the high demand for AI and machine learning skills, it also touches on this crucial point.
Which is...
AI isn't about to replace human developers entirely.
Okay, that's That's slightly reassuring, I guess. But I'm remembering that Reddit thread now, and there were some seriously freaked out people in there. People convinced that ChatGPT was going to be writing better code than them, like, tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to get caught up in that fear.
Right.
But here's the thing. Technology, any technology,
Mm.
it's only as good as the humans who are. Designing it, implementing it,
Yeah.
most importantly, interpreting its output.
So it's not about AI versus humans. It's more like AI as a tool. Okay, I like that. So instead of thinking of AI as this, like, job-stealing monster, maybe we should be thinking about it as this powerful new tool.
A powerful new tool in a developer's toolkit.
Exactly.
And that shift in perspective, it's crucial.
Totally. But okay, there's another layer to this whole job market shakeup that we have to unpack, and that's outsourcing. The article touches on it, but it really hit home for me when I read that comment from the recruiter on Reddit, the one who talked about being laid off twice, and how frustrating it was to see companies choosing offshore talent even as their profits were bouncing back.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Right.
Because on the one hand, the pandemic definitely proved that remote work can be incredibly effective.
Oh, absolutely.
But the flip side of that is companies realize they can now access a global talent pool.
And often at a lower cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, great for global interconnectedness in theory, but in practice, it creates a lot of uncertainty for tech workers here in the U.S.
Absolutely.
Because now we're competing with, well, everyone.
Right. It's a much bigger talent pool.
So what does that mean for someone who's trying to not just survive, but thrive in this new landscape?
Well, I think it underscores a point the article makes kind of implicitly. The skills that are going to set you apart, they go beyond just technical proficiency.
So it's not enough to just be a coding whiz anymore.
It's more than that, yeah.
So what are those essential skills then? What do you need to make it in this new world? It's like on top of everything else, now you got to be a master strategist too.
Right, it's a lot.
So where do we even begin?
Well, the article, it kind of hints at this
Yeah.
without ever really saying it directly. But I think the key word here is adaptability.
Adaptability.
Yeah, like it's not enough to be
Yeah.
a specialist in one programming language or framework anymore.
Right.
The tech workers who are going to thrive in this environment, they're the ones who can learn new technologies quickly, pivot to different projects, embrace change,
It's interesting you say the article just hints at that because it's
Whoa.
kind of like, it feels like one of those aha moments for our listeners, right?
Yeah.
Like something you might miss if you're just skimming the headlines.
Totally. And it shows why it's so important to really dig deeper into these conversations.
Right, like we're
Oh,
doing.
okay.
So, okay, the article also throws around these terms, system design, soft skills, which to someone just starting out, those could sound like, I don't know, buzzwords almost.
Right, totally.
So let's break it down. What does it actually mean to be good at system design?
Okay, so system design at its core, it's about understanding how different parts of it, like a technological system, work together.
Okay.
It's about being able to see the big picture,
Mhm.
anticipate challenges,
Yeah.
and design solutions that are, scalable and efficient.
So less about writing the actual lines of code and more about like architecting the whole thing.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. And how does that tie into those all-important soft skills?
Well, and I always say those soft skills, they're anything but soft
Right.
because they're so crucial. We're talking about communication, collaboration, problem solving, adaptability, all that good stuff.
So, like, being able to explain those complex technical concepts to, say, someone in the marketing department,
Exactly.
or being able to work effectively with a team, that's scattered across, like, 4 different time zones.
Right, and don't underestimate
Yeah.
how important those interpersonal skills are, especially in a remote work environment.
Totally.
And then the other big one, and this is huge, the ability to learn continuously.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be at the top of the list, right?
Sure, because the tech world moves so fast. What's cutting edge today is obsolete tomorrow. You got to be able to pick up new skills constantly.
It's like that old saying, the only constant is change.
Exactly. And that can feel daunting. I get it.
You can, yeah. Especially if you're, feeling a little, I don't know, beaten down by the current job market.
Right. And I totally get it. Those feelings are valid.
Right.
But here's the thing I always try to remind myself of, and that I hope our listeners will keep in mind too. You can't control the global job market,
True.
but you can control how you respond to it.
So it's about focusing on what you can control.
Exactly.
So, like, instead of doom scrolling through those layoff announcements,
right.
you're working on honing those in-demand skills.
Yeah.
Building a portfolio that showcases your adaptability.
Exactly. And you know what? This shift in the tech industry, it's unsettling, for sure. But it also presents a really unique opportunity.
Oh, how so?
Well, think about it. If companies are prioritizing adaptability, strategic thinking, a broader skill set, it kind of levels the playing field in a way.
You're saying that this could be the perfect time for someone who maybe doesn't have that, like, traditional tech background,
Yeah.
but who is passionate about problem solving
Yes, exactly.
and is eager to learn and grow.
Precisely. And it made me think about that comment from the Reddit thread,
Which one?
the one that was like, what if this whole shift, it actually favors the tech worker who's genuinely passionate about their craft?
The ones who see technology as a tool to make a real difference in the world.
Exactly. They're not chasing the next big paycheck. They're chasing the next big idea.
I love that.
And I think those are the people who are going to thrive in this new landscape.
Absolutely. This isn't the death of tech. It's more like tech's awkward puberty phase.
A perfect analogy.
Right. It's changing, it's evolving. And with those changes comes the chance to redefine what success even means.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, to our listeners out there, if you're feeling a little lost in the tech job market shuffle right now, remember this. Your passion, your curiosity, your willingness to learn and adapt, those are your superpowers.
Oh, yeah.
The tech world needs those superpowers now more than ever.
Couldn't agree more.
The industry might be changing, but you've got this.
You do.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up this deep dive. We hope you found this exploration of the tech job market insightful, maybe even a little inspiring. Until next time, stay curious out there.